Hello, my name's Artemis and I'm here with...
Spin!
You all know him, obviously, because I invented him. And we're going to talk to you about what the fuck just happened with ConvoyWolf 2019. So, obviously, conventions are big, heavy bastards and events, and there's loads of shit that goes on and shit that happens, and we thought, fuck it, that's pretty a good basis for a video, so we're going to do one. We're going to go through some shit we learned and some things that might actually help you in your own convention experience, and also Spin has some valid points to make, and I'll sit here and shut up and listen to them.
I mean, you might.
Might. There's never a guarantee of that.
That's fair. I'll go with what I can get.
Yeah, well, you can say that again. So, obviously, I was a part of a YouTube channel with Shadow Raccoon, Leon the Fox, and Blue the Dragon. And it went about as right as the YouTube panel went the year before when I ran it. Nothing happened that was all that great because nothing got organised by con staff. Like, I really appreciate all the effort they put in, but we didn't really have anything ready when we needed to go. You were in the audience, for God's sake. How long were you waiting?
I think it was about 10 minutes to 15 minutes after we started the panel that they were still running back and forth trying to find an HDMI cable that they couldn't find. And they finally got a projector and a screen sometime around the 15-minute mark and realized they couldn't do anything with it and decided, we'll just do it live, I guess. They had members of the audience moving tables because nothing was set up when we got in there to begin with. So we had to basically set up our own panel. And
I mean, if you were at my panel beforehand when I did it with, Hayu and that, you'll know full well what it was like when we had to just literally be like, hi, who in the audience knows how to set up AV shit, because we don't. And it was pretty much that all over again. Only there was a long ass wait and some little rubber ducks got thrown. And honestly, if we just winged it right from the fucking off, it would have been a lot better. But, you know, I get that if you want to do a proper presentation that you've got to wait for it. Oh god, we should have winged it. Also, props to people who did it in suit. Holy shit, that was a long time to stand there and fucking talk. I could barely hear anything. Like, everybody else took a microphone, and I get it was supposed to be louder. All I heard was subscribe and like my channel. Like, that was all I fucking got from any of it. So I just had to hope to God I wasn't repeating what someone else had fucking said. You sat in the audience. Could you understand a goddamn word of it?
I mean, in the audience, I could understand everything that was being said, but I was also not in suit when I was doing that, so it was a lot easier for me to understand what you guys were saying than any of what we were saying to you, and what you guys were saying to each other, which can be a problem if you're trying to have some sort of cohesive panel, which I assume that was the point. It was the point that I was told it was supposed to be last year, and that's never been reached, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, we didn't quite get to that. And, like, microphones don't really work with fursuits, so, yeah, that was just a whole struggle to begin with.
That's true.
Yeah. So, like, the really difficult part of it was there was a Q&A, and people were asking, like, in-depth questions, which is great, but then you have the fucking pressure of, right, how honest can I be? Like, someone was saying, like, how do you come up with original ideas? And I'm like, well, I can tell you my process, but do you really want to hear that it's not going to fucking work for you? Because that's my process. It's how I think and operate. It's, you know, your process for finding fucking ideas is your imagination. You can't just fucking tell someone how to imagine something out of nothing. It's not possible.
One of the problems being in the audience is that you're sort of beholden to time constraints. So if you have a very technical question, you're not getting that answered. You're going to get half of it or a quarter of it answered, or just sort of a, like, glossing over, I guess is the best way to put it. A glossing over of your answer. If you really want the answer, you'll have to find them after the panel. The panel is not going to be the time or place to do it because they're under time constraints, because they have that room from X amount of time to X amount of time. And if it's the YouTube panel, 3/4 of that is help us set up the YouTube panel.
That's basically what it should have been, just how to set up a YouTube panel, audience participation only. Oh, but either way, it was fun enough. We did some decent stuff. It was an experience. I wouldn't ever say that I didn't enjoy it. Thank you for Shadow for organising it. It was nice to be invited. It was good.
Yes, it's very good.
Yes! Okay, so of course we were part of the dance competition. I was the host with the slightly more than most, and that can't really be said at a dance competition. I'm the only fucker who didn't dance. But yeah, I was the master of ceremonies for that, and it went pretty okay-ish. The fun thing we found was trying to sneak our fucking friends into it, so they weren't just sort of sat in the lobby waiting. So I brought this lovely fucker along, just like, oh, you know, you can, you know, just lend a hand if they need a hand lifting something, and it'll be absolutely fine. Tell them what happened, Spin, when you made that offer.
Fantastic. So, pro tip, if you should say, offer your services to someone who is desperately in need and you don't know that, you might be made sort of head of the back room. And I didn't know what that meant. Effectively, you're like a cat herder. You're just trying to get the fursuiters to stay where they're supposed to be, or, here's a fun one, show up on time!
So one of Spin's main duties was trying to make sure everybody actually got on stage at the right time, and there was someone who just wasn't quite on time. There was a couple of people who just weren't quite on time, and you know, two of them were the last act, and you know, that's all right. We found a way around it. Who was the other one who was late?
Oh, are we talking about Ember?
Yeah, there was that one, and there was a certain important person. Oh, yeah, one of our fucking judges didn't turn up on time.
Oh,
yeah,
that's right. One of our judges didn't turn up on time whatsoever because, you know, reasons.
I mean, to be fair, he had a lot to get ready.
That's true. He did have a lot to get ready.
Justice there, but I mean, that was your job, so it's not really.
It was. I had a magic list I had to check off and hand back to Leon, who was running the whole thing, and if these people didn't show up, then, well, our schedule gets messed up, and if our schedule gets messed up, the dance competition sort of goes off the rails, and then he doesn't know what to say because he doesn't know who's coming next, and we've got everything planned out.
And then the voice of God comes from the rafters to tell me.
That's true.
What was that actually in my head? I can't remember.
You know, I was in the back.
And of course, one of the really hard parts about the dance competition is that life is a bitch, and you can never change that. So, the first dancer, the wonderful Fatality, put on a hell of a performance, couldn't finish that performance and went down hard when they slit their kneecap. There was a photo. I wonder if we can find it. If we can find it, I'm going to put it here. If we can't, there'll probably just be a graphic saying I couldn't find it. But either way, it was not very nice, and it took a long time, a little bit too long for people to figure out, like, oh, this is not part of the dance. Like, I was backstage barely able to fucking see what was going on to begin with, so I sort of wandered out like, fuck. And thankfully we had people on scene, and we got them to help. We got to a hospital, but it's not a nice moment, you know. There seems to be an accident every year, but hell, at least we turned it around, didn't we, Spin?
Yeah, I mean, it went as well as we possibly could have hoped. It could have gone with a thrown-together crew. I mean, and luckily, as Artie says, his knee was okay, and he even made it back to the convention that night. Just absolutely, just amazing. Like, yeah. I would have been done.
Like, seriously, we were asking Leon, like, oh God, what happened with Fatality? Is he okay? And he's like, yeah, he's in TGI Fridays with me right now in a wheelchair. I'm like, oh, so dude's fucking okay then. Like, he could laugh it off, even if it did take all of my energy not to walk out and be like, well, he lived up to his name. So this is one of the really weird parts I found with the dance com. Like, I was just asked to turn up and be the microphone jockey. Spin just sort of turned up looking to lend a hand. And a bunch of us just sort of turned up to just be there to help put it on. And now we're basically the dance comp team. Like, we're fucking putting on the next one next year. I'm back as the host. This is now the official cat wrangler. And we have, like, everyone involved. And none of that was really expected. Like, people like Blue really fucking made the show, like, take a step up. Because Blue has some fucking fantastic feedback. Zippy, obviously everyone knows Zippy. Zippy's a mainstay of it. So's Leon. Leon really put the fucking effort in, and it was nice that we all just gelled. We all just came together and things just worked. Like, the amount of suggestions we have for each other and feedback to making next year's show one up every other dance contest out there it's going pretty damn fucking good. I didn't expect that to happen, did you?
No, I didn't. I honestly expected this to be sort of, well, a shit show. That, some sort of, like, terrible hurricane of shit that just... I didn't like that.
I don't like that either. It sounds like a fucking wound party. Jesus Christ.
I don't like that either.
I mean, yeah, the team just sort of floated together, and that's just not something I expected. I mean, did you see that coming?
No, I didn't. I honestly expected this to go really, really badly, given the fact that none of us had ever worked together before, and I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just kind of improvising, and they kind of told me everything really quickly, and then said, "You've got it right," and then they walked away, and I was stood there with the piece of paper going, "I hope I have this, because if I don't, everything's going to go to shit. And it'll be my fault." So I just went in the back and did the best I could, and so did everyone else. And for whatever reason, that worked. And we're just going to keep trying to do that and trying to keep things simple, but keep things better, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty good way of putting it. It was an organised shit show, and that was apparently good. So we'll just do that again next year, but better. Fuck it.
It's the best we can hope for.
It's all we can hope for. So, of course, going to a convention like this, you're going to meet a lot of people. People you know, people you just know of, and people you don't know. That's pretty much the only real ways you could classify your relationship with people. But fuck it, you're going to meet all those kinds, and, it's going to go pretty well, and there's going to be some people that smash this sort of expectation you have of them. And without naming names, I'm going to name a name, and that was Blue the Dragon for me. So the thing about Blue was that I never really had anything to do with Blue, never even really seen him online, because I'll be honest, I don't really deal a lot with the online community, because I just don't really know what to do with it all. So I'd sort of built up this reputation in my head that was completely false and bullshit, and I knew that just going to the YouTube panel. Like, there's a moment in the panel he was talking about something, and I'm just like, yes, this, everything this, because I was like, oh shit, we think the same things about this sort of stuff. Like, I have a lot of respect for Blue based off that, and like, he's a hell of a performer, a hell of an everything. Like, he knows the business inside and out, he's trained and shit, and I mean, I thought, like, I've got a decent knowledge of the way YouTube works, and I listened to him speak about things like analytics and shit, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I know fuck all, Jesus. So meeting Blue and, like, my stupid bullshit paranoia of everyone's an asshole, just being completely shot down by someone's decent personality was a breath of fresh air. The fact that happened a lot at this convention made it really something special.
Yeah, I think that's about right. And this is kind of like a mentality that you have to keep in mind, is that people have a tendency to build people up or have an idea of a person that that's not really who they are. And so there's a piece of advice that I give to people, especially people that are close to me. And I tell them all to give everyone a blank slate and let that person write anything they want on that slate. And then you judge them for what they write for you, not for what they've written for someone else. If you're going to hate someone, hate them for your own reasons. If you're going to like someone, like them for your own reasons. Do that thing. And I believe if everyone did that, we'd have a little less drama, I think. Maybe, I don't know.
I mean, you're always going to have drama. There'd be drama. Oh, my slate, I wrote on it and I want to change that. You'd have fucking loads of shit. But it would definitely decrease the amount, at least. And that's always something worth shooting for.
Yeah.
And continuing forward with things like this, you're also going to meet a lot of people who would classify themselves as fans. I don't like using that word because it makes me feel like a fucking arrogant asshole when I only pretend to be one on the internet for money. Wait, whoa. But yeah, you're going to meet a lot of people who tend to enjoy your content, or just enjoy your suit, or just enjoy you. Like, going to a convention is simple. You can have someone who's got loads of videos going, and they're like, oh my god, I love your videos, they're amazing. You can just have someone who's got a nice suit, and be like, oh my god, that suit's really nice, you do, like, a good performance. Like, we have people recognised for their artwork as well, and that's just fucking magical when that happens. And it's very difficult to begin with, especially for someone like myself, who, believe it or not, and I doubt anyone will believe it, is really bad at taking a compliment. Like, I will fight you. Like, oh, I really like your videos. And my first response is, oh, why? Like, I can't even watch my own shit, but then again, I don't reckon anybody watches their own videos. But it's something that just gets easier. You go along with it better. I felt a bit more comfortable speaking to everyone this time. there wasn't really anybody that was like too creepy or anything. I thought I gave everyone a fair bit of time. I mean, even you got recognised and you got that experience as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, and the people that came up were very nice. They were very kind. They seemingly, and it was weird because they were like, I don't want to take up too much of your time. It's just like, my time's not valuable. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I'm just sitting here, like, every once in a while, though, you do have some place to go, and you kind of have to, you know, break off the conversation a little short, and you might want to still talk to that person, but you still kind of have to find a way to do that.
It's just the way it goes, and sometimes that's difficult. I used to really struggle with like saying to people like, I have to actually go now, goodbye, this conversation's over, but I found easier ways to deal with it. It's just something you learn through experience, really, and it was nice.
Oh, yes.
I mean, generally.
I mean, it's alright. I mean,
apart from that one guy, I mean, oh my god, Jesus.
There's always one. There's always one.
And of course, the really magical thing about conventions, or at least that I find with Confuzzled, which seem to have more of this going than any other con I've been to, which is just the one other con I've been to, but fuck it, is that a group just seems to come together and form at the convention, and it's full of old friends and new friends, people you might have just spoken to before, and I fucking love that. Like, if you had said to me before the con, the kind of people I'd be hanging out with, and you know, who the exact people I would be spending a lot of time with and doing our own little room parties, like not Lou, to shut the fuck up, I would have not believed it, because it was just like, wow, really? Really? We would have, okay, you know, it's great. Like, I mean, getting closer with Leon and his partner Crystal, that was fucking lovely, because they're really nice people. Meeting people like Pan and Ephriel, Christ, we had a really good conversation with Ephriel and Jax, they were lovely. Nicole, very fursuit maker, having a good chat with her and reassuring her that I am not a freak about paws, I just think they're cute. Christ, after hearing some of the stories, it's probably a relief. But it's something that everybody needs to come into, like finding your own group and being who you are to actually find that, and being open to new people. I think we did a damn good job of that this year. We met some really awesome people.
Normally, yeah, I believe that we're fairly adept at adding people to the list each year, it seems like, and that's just kind of how it goes. Sometimes you just find people that just mesh with you super well, and you know, it's all about like building that friend group, because the convention's not about fursuiting, it's not about making videos or, you know, going to events so much. It's going there to like find friends, hang out with friends, make new ones, see old ones, all of that. That's the most important thing, and that's what we found ourselves doing more than like what you would consider the regular con stuff. You know, that's just kind of what we did, and I have more fun at this convention than I do at the larger ones. I mean, hands down. I
think your quote said it the best. Like, we didn't do that much fursuiting because we were too busy having a good time.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, yeah.
Like, I have all these video ideas planned, which, oh my god, I didn't realise how much work they would be until I got to the con. I would have been working the whole thing and doing the panel and the YouTube, the dance stuff. That already took up enough time, but like, we would be like, oh, let's go back and just suit up and go out, and then nope, we've ended up doing something else with friends or chilling out. And I don't regret not suiting, not doing as much as we did, because we had really good stuff to fill that time with. We didn't really just sit around doing fuck all. We filled the time nicely, just with more stuff that we wanted to do in the moment, and that's how you string together a great con experience, really.
Yeah, it's about hanging out with your friends and having a good time. And if you had a good time, no matter what you did, then you had a good con. Like, regardless of where it was, who you were with, you know, whether you were invited to like the cool kids room party or whatever it was, so long as you were with your friends, like, that's what matters. Like, the absolute most. Like, don't worry about any of the other stuff. Don't get caught up in that, because it's ultimately, that's not the point.
So there we go, that's pretty much what I gained from this experience. This is what the fuck happened at Confuzzled 2019. There was plenty of tea of all varieties, and overall it was a really, really good con. I really enjoyed it. It was a good time with Spin. Spin, this is your opportunity to shamelessly plug yourself and your Patreon page as well.
Okay, well,
and that's all we have time for. Sorry about that. See you next time. No, seriously, go on, you do.
Okay. Well, anyway, I do have a YouTube, and it'll be linked down below. I have a Patreon. If you want to do that, that's fine. You can follow me on Twitter, and, you know, like, subscribe, whatever, I don't care. I really don't.
Yeah, actually said it. Yeah, actually
yes,
said it.
Of course. Yeah. But I also have some words to leave you with. Because that's what I do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Just remember that death is a privilege, not a right.
And on that note, I'm getting the fuck out of here. Jesus Christ.